Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Today's success achievers will be presented on USA and Saudi Arabia religion and ideology issues. Introduction. Religion and ideology are powerful forces that shape the values, laws, and everyday lives of people around the world. In this presentation, we will explore how these two elements influence society in two very different nations, the United States of America and Saudi Arabia. The United States of America values freedom of religion and individual rights, while Saudi Arabia, a religious monarchy, heavily influences government policy, social norms, and legal systems through Sunni Islam. Comparing secular democratic and religious monarchy systems, understanding their cultural, legal, and social norms, and highlighting current social reforms and cultural tensions can provide valuable insights. Now we look at the background of the United States of America. The USA Federal Republic in North America. It was founded in 1776 after declaring independence from Britain and has since become a powerful, influential, and politically influential country. The US is a diverse nation with a rich history of immigration, operates a democratic and capitalistic political system, promoting individual rights and freedom. The US, predominantly Christian, is home to various religions, groups including Jews, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, and atheists, and maintains a core principle of separation of church and state. Now we look into the background of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, officially the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a nation with a rich history, deeply intertwined with Islam and the Arabian Peninsula. Saudi Arabia, founded in 1932 by King Abdulaziz Al Saud, is a wealthy and influential country in the Middle East, known for its vast oil reserves. Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam and home to Mecca and Medina, is a key religious center for Muslims. Now I'll pass you on to my colleague, Nikita.
Good day, everyone. So now we're looking at the comparison of government laws between USA and Saudi Arabia. Now there's a great comparison between USA and Saudi Arabia's. Here's a list of the aspects and comparison between the two. Legal systems, constitutions, religious laws, freedom of speech, criminal law, legal age for marriage, laws on public behavior, and laws on LGBTQ plus rights. Now, the USA emphasizes individual freedom and related to secular laws and a constitutional framework, whereas Saudi Arabia is governed by Islamic law with laws closely tied to religion principles and strict social code. Here's a brief outline of the United States of America religion. Now, the United States is known for its religious diversity and freedom. Religion also plays a significant role in shaping culture, politics, and social values. In the United States, there are major religions, and the one that tops the chart is Christianity. This religion is the largest. It carries a percentage of 70% of the population. Protestant denominations, example, Baptist, Methodist, we have the Roman Catholic Church, other Christian groups such as Mormonism and Orthodox. Now the unaffiliated, growing number of people with no religious affiliation is called the nones. Here you can see a pie chart showing the different religions and its population percentage. Here you can also see the religious symbols of the United States. Now the USA religious trends and changes. The US is experiencing a rise in religiously unaffiliated individuals, especially among young adults, which carries 36%, compared to seniors, which is 10%. Growth in evangelical and non-denominational Christianity reflects diversification. Immigration increased religious diversity, while secularization impacts some regions more. Older generations remain more religiously active, and if these trends continue, Christians could be a minority by 2070, over 50% unaffiliated. When it comes to USA's religion's role in society, it influences politics, education, and social issues. Religious organizations provide charity, healthcare, and community support. Last but not least, religious events and holidays are widely celebrated. Now, I pass you on to my colleague, Adonai.
Good day, everyone. I will be discussing the ideology in the United States of America. Ideology in the USA, like the various ethnicities there, is diverse because of individualism and different cultural backgrounds. However, conservatism, liberalism, and moderatism or moderate politics are three of the more major and dominant ideologies in the USA. The USA is a democratic country and has three political parties respective to the ideologies listed: Democrats, Republicans, and moderates. We will go into detail about all of these, but first let's take a look at some of the ideology flags: democracy, fascism, communism, monarchy, Christian theocracy, Islamic theocracy, Judaist theocracy, and environmentalism. Now let's talk about liberalism. Liberalism is a philosophy based on liberty, consent of the governed, rights of an individual, and progress. It focuses on government regulations, equality, and social justice. The Democratic Party is the main political party that supports liberals and their ideas. Liberalism in the USA supports freedom, equality, environmental protection, and fair access to healthcare and education. Their beliefs are reflected in freedom of speech, President Joe Biden's 2021 return to the Paris Agreement, and support for individual rights. Now on to conservatism. Conservatism is a philosophy based on the idea of keeping traditions, maintaining order, and limiting government power. Conservatism focuses on traditional values, individual liberty, and limited government. Conservatives in the USA believe in limited government, traditional values, and personal choice. This is seen in support for gun rights, capital punishment, lower taxes, stricter immigration, and resisting changes to the traditional gender roles. Lastly, moderatism. Moderatism is having balanced political views and being in the middle ground of both conservatism and liberalism. It focuses on balance, compromise, and selecting the best solutions. Moderates believe in combining liberal and conservative ideas to find balanced solutions. In the USA, this is seen in supporting gun rights while also doing background checks and adjusting taxes to help the less fortunate while taxing the wealthy more. I will now hand you over to my colleague, Natanya.
Hi everyone, so I will be discussing Saudi Arabia religion. So Saudi Arabia is a complete Islamic monarchy, and the state and society there are completely based on Sharia law, which is derived from the Quran and from the Prophet Muhammad's teachings. Sunni Islam, specifically a strict interpretation called Wahhabism, is the official state religion. Islam in this case is not just a religion, but it is the substance for the state's identity, legislation, and public life. So here we have some fun facts about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia ranks as one of the least free countries in the Freedom House Global Freedom Index. A 2024 Pew Research Center report shows Saudi Arabia among countries with very high government restrictions on religion. So now I will be speaking about zero legal freedom, religious freedom in Saudi Arabia. So as opposed to in the United States, religious freedom is not protected by laws in Saudi Arabia. The Quran and Sunnah is the foundation for their constitution. Therefore, Sunni Islam is the only religion to be practiced openly. Non-Muslim religions, such as Hinduism, Judaism, and Christianity, can't conduct public meetings, display religious symbols, or even construct places of worship, as reported by the U.S. State Department's International Religious Freedom Report. Authorities have been reported to storm private gatherings previously, so even private worship has to be inconspicuous. The Saudi administration aggressively forbids any public practice of religions outside of Islam, and even trying to convert someone to another religion is of law. Next, we have apostasy and blasphemy. So apostasy is the act of refusing to continue to follow, obey, or recognize a religious faith, according to Merriam-Webster.com, which also defines blasphemy as the act of insulting or showing contempt or lack of reverence for God. So in Saudi Arabia, apostasy, which is converting from Islam to another religion or refusing Islam altogether, is deemed a capital crime and can result in punishment by death. In the same way, blasphemy against Islam, the Quran, or the Prophet Muhammad is also forbidden and can carry severe penalties like long prison sentences or physical punishment. These laws apply to both citizens and foreign populations, inclusive of migrant workers from Christian or Hindu faiths, who again must keep their religious practices discreet. So here we have the Quran, which is the holy book for Muslims, and there we have some believers, just praying and walking around. Now I'm going to talk about the discrimination within Islam. So even a population of mostly Muslims, not all the groups are treated fairly or equally. So Shia Muslims, who make up around 10 to 15% of the population, encounter discrimination regarding work, access to religious education, and access to high-ranking titles in administration. So Shia mosques are often patrolled, and public Shia religious rituals such as Ashura, a significant day in Islam, are frequently limited or even prohibited. So this religious inequity within Islam is another aspect to the issue of religious freedom and rights.
So now we'll be showing a video regarding Muslim women in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabian women are so done with not having full rights in their country. A recently released music video shows niqab-clad women skateboarding and wearing neon. It's a response to Saudi Arabia's requirement that women get permission from male relatives to do nearly anything. Women in Saudi Arabia aren't allowed to do many of the activities shown. The lyrics are political and damning, wishing for men to die. Despite the women's faces being covered from wearing their niqabs, what they're doing is risky. The video quickly went viral and has received mixed reviews.
So here are some recent but still limited changes. Saudi Arabia has accommodated interfaith conferences and permitted some Christian worship in private locations. But that being said, these restructurings have not yet achieved definite religious freedom, because as of 2024, a U.S. interfaith delegate was asked to remove Jewish symbols, as reported by AP News. This just proves that the state still does not accept public religious diversity. Religious activists or criticizers have been incarcerated or suppressed. I will now pass you over to Jeanette.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks to you for joining. Today we are going to explore how psychology helps us to understand the influence of ideology in Saudi Arabia. Ideology isn't just about politics, it's about deeply rooted beliefs shape the way people think, behave, and interact. Let us start by understanding what ideology means in psychology. Ideology is a set of beliefs and values that shapes how people see themselves and others. In Saudi Arabia, ideology is deeply rooted in conservative Islamic beliefs, especially Wahhabis. This influences education, gender roles, family life, and even mental health. Next, take a moment to view the flags of Saudi Arabia, a powerful symbol of nation, identity, and ideology. Now, let's talk about how young people develop their identities. According to Eric Erickson, adolescence is a time when people try to figure out who they are. In Saudi Arabia, this is tough because strict cultural rules expect obedience and modesty, especially for women. Many young adults want more freedom, but these desires often clash with traditional rules, causing confusion, anxiety, and guilt. Next, we will explore mental struggle called cognitive dissonance. Leon Fettinger's theories explain how holding conflicting beliefs causes discomfort. For example, a young Saudi man might want to express himself through modern fashion or music, but feels pressured to appear religious and respectful. This clash creates stress and affects mental health, especially in a culture that values reputation and saving peace. Let us see how people learn their beliefs through others. Albert Bandura's social learning theory shows that we learn by watching parents, teachers, and religious leaders. In Saudi Arabia, these role models promote conservative values reinforced by social rewards and punishment. Because of this, traditional norms are deeply ingrained from a young age, making it hard for people to question them later, even if they disagree privately. Now, let us understand why people stick to traditional values. Children and teens learn behavior by observing and getting feedback from their community, approval and belonging, reward, conformity. While shame and exclusion punish and rebellion, the social system teaches people to follow traditional norms early on, so they internalize these beliefs deeply, even if they feel differently inside. Finally, let us discuss how collectivism shapes emotions and behavior. Saudi Arabia is a collectivist society that values group harmony and loyalty over individual goals. While this creates belongings, it also pressures people to suppress their own feelings and opinions. This can lead to emotional problems like depression and passive behavior because expressing independence is often discouraged. To wrap up, let us now look at how rapid social change is affecting psychology in Saudi Arabia. Today, Saudi Arabia is changing quickly under its Vision 2013 and reforms. Women can now drive, work in more sectors, and engage in public life. While these changes are progressive, they also bring psychological tension. Older generation may feel uncomfortable, while younger people feel torn between tradition and freedom. This can cause stress, but also encourage growth. Thank you all for listening. As we have seen, ideology in Saudi Arabia is deeply connected to psychology. It influences how people grow, how they think, and how they feel. Through theories, we can better understand the inner challenges that comes within living in a society where tradition and modern change collide. I now pass you on to my colleague, Faith.
Our reflection highlights how ideology and religion deeply influence identity, behavior, and mental health in Saudi Arabia. With traditional expectations creating internal struggles, we also learned how they emphasize the strictness of Saudi Arabia laws rooted in religious beliefs which shape daily life. After doing our research on the US, it revealed how religion and ideology impact psychological perspectives and societal dynamics. With a diverse and evolving religious landscape where Christianity is decreasing and secularism is rising. Overall, reflecting on both US and Saudi Arabia shows the powerful role of culture and religion in shaping individual and societal identities across different countries. In conclusion, the United States and Saudi Arabia maintain a defined religious and ideological systems which differ significantly. The United States protects and defends religious choices through laws that defend freedom of belief, whereas Saudi Arabia builds its foundation on Islam while implementing severe restrictions on all other religious practices. The United States protects the presence of religious diversity as well as freedom to practice. On the other hand, Saudi Arabia laws are created so that religious freedoms are limited to practicing Islam alone, enforcing strict sentences for blasphemy and apostasy. Having compared these two countries helps us have an idea religious beliefs and ideologies have on societies. It also teaches us that we should respect and tolerate cultural differences for better global citizenship. These are the references we used.
Thank you for watching.